Hello. Yes, I know. Welcome and good evening. Tonight is not a Patreon sculpt, nor is it a sculpt that is going on Thingiverse. It's one of the set of sculpts I decided to do for the Outside Xcrew. For those who don't know, Outside Xbox and Outside Extra are video game channels on YouTube. Outside Xbox obviously focusing on Xbox, with Outside Extra on everything else. But they have some really quirky and funny hosts, at least in my opinion. And I have a cat that has decided that he needs to be in my lap. No, Fuzz. No. No. Hey, nine, hey, ya, hey, ya. Go on, Fuzzy Butt. Anyway, several months ago, they decided to start playing D&D. And so I decided it would be fun to sculpt their characters. Who knows, possibly even... Oof! Ah! Possibly even print them out and send them to them. And it's what a coincidence that this one here has decided to join me, because the figure I'm going to sculpt tonight is the druid played by Ellen of Outside Extra, who adores cats. Oh, do you mind, cat? I know you love me, you know I love you, but you gotta go down. Can't be in my lap when I'm trying to work. Be more like Shinju. In case you're wondering, this is Shinji right behind the Anycubic logo. Yes, I am now sponsored by Anycubic, so outstanding. Anyway, no. No, no, no. Anyway, she's a druid who adores cats. A wood elf druid, and they are using the fact that elves are shorter than humans in their particular campaign, plus the fact that Ellen herself is rather tiny, and apparently she's not really that small, but her partner's like 6 foot 4 or 6 foot 14 or something like that. Crazies. And of course, then I got the sweetie kit here. Yes, baby girl. Anyway, so tonight I'm going to sculpt Ellen's druid, complete with a little kitty flopped on top of her head. So I'm going to be switching to Daz Studio, and you will see that this time there is a female figure loaded. Go figure. I'm not going to try and sculpt a male figure into a female one. Alright. So one of the first things that we got to do is we got to make her elven. So the race is, oh look, there's an elf. But this makes her too tall, because normally my elves are tall. So we go back down to scale, and we scale her down just a little bit. Now, I'm actually not going to have her holding any weapons, because I've never really seen her carry any. But I need to give her a tunic bottom. Now, what I'm going to do is she's going to be just kind of like, hi, with cat on her head. She's going to have a hood, but the cat's on top of the hood going, I'm a cat. So we need to give her pose. We switch to parameters, and I can do things like, you know, side to side. Well, first we need to select the hip. Gonna give it a, let's see, her left arm's gonna be going up, so hold on, let me check. Yes, when I do poses, I check. Okay, so yeah, it's going to rotate not quite that far. That's a bit too much. Let's drop it back down. Yeah, about 7. And then we're going to side to side. This leg is mostly straight. This leg is going to be kind of bend forward a little bit. And this back a little bit. Go to the front view, and we're going to select the feet, and I'm going to use that so we can zoom in on the feet. I'm going to bend the foot up, this foot up a bit too much, simply because that gets it out of the way. Okay, first we need to okay. And I'm going to hit Control D, which, whoa, I meant Control D. Yeah. Now, I'm going to unbend that foot a little and bend the toe up and twist a little. Now, perspective view. Actually, let's go ahead and exaggerate that just a little. And then go to the front view again. Alright, first we need to twist that a little bit. And then we need to bring it forward just 1 or 2 degrees. Oh, wrong way. Okay, that's better. So the hips are done. I'm going to bend the abdomen forward a little. Chest back a little, side to side. And a little bit of a twist. The reason being is you never want the shoulders and hips to be absolutely perfectly parallel to each other. Now we're going to twist the arm forward, bend it up and forward. It's a bit too much, so it's and now I'm going to bend the fingers back a little because she's all happy and stuff. Now this shoulder goes bent down. Gonna twist that way. Bend forward. twist it a little here. Twist the forearm a bit. And now I'm going to select the fingers. I'm going to select both fingers. And I'm going to bend them a little. And I'm going to select this. I'm going to side to side it. That's good enough. And this is going to bend. Whoop. Oh, looks like I need to side to side it again instead. I've got to go back in here one of these and really tweak the rigging on these figures. Now I need to untwist this. That's far too much of a twist for a human body. Or a human, demi-human body. Now, on the jaw of the face, let's kind of close in here. And I'm going to X-scale the jaw just a little because it's a little... And I'm also going to open it just a bit because we're going to turn it into a smile. Just like these brows, we're going to twist, go side to side, out a little, and up. We're going to twist them a bit more because that's not enough to really emphasize. Yeah. And then symmetry, right to left. And then we're going to side to side the head just a bit to get it more upright. And now, frame. And there we have the base pose for our adorable little druid. Now just to make sure I've got her size right, content library, we're going to load in a male. Basic male human. And she's still too big. So we need to take her and we need to scale her down to about there. And then delete the guy because we don't need the guy. Excuse me. Now just to make sure that she's got a static pose. Now notice that it is a standing static. There's no, she's not moving in the pose, but it still looks more natural because of this the hip movement and the shoulder movement, you know, that sort of thing. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hide the tunic bottom. We're going to export that. And we're taking this to outside Xbox. We're exporting it as Ellen body. Now this is not going to be an attempt at replicating Ellen as a miniature. This is Ellen's character. I don't know what her body's like other than that she's an adorable youngling. So, no, not youngling. She's an adorable young woman. Ellen skirt. Actually, there's one other thing she needs. Come to think of it. content library, clothing. Do I have one on her, or do I have to? Yeah, I have to load in the other one. And that's a cloak. We need to scale it down. And then Y translate it up. Grab this side to side. X translate it over a bit. Whoa, no. Cloak. X translate it over a bit. And bend it backwards, because oh no, Z translate. Okay. And okay, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to select the children bones just to alright, now center cloak is going to Y twist a little. Well, it's going to X rotate back down, and then it and center cloak 1 and 2 are going to Z rotate a bit. And Y rotate a bit like that. That's good enough. Well, let's go ahead and bring it forward and forward up a little bit like that. And this one. Y rotate. X rotate. And then L cape 1 we're going to Y rotate out a bit, or in, and there. Okay, so that's going to be her cape. Let's go back, let's go to the front view, and now alright, there we go. Now we're going to hide her and her tunic and export the cloak. Ellen cloak. Accept. And honestly, we can actually now go ahead and delete her in here, because the next thing we're going to ZBrush. If I don't remember if I included it in the base files, but if I did, it's under clothing. Okay, now first thing we do is we import poor Ellen, and there it is, outside Xbox. Ellen body. We're going to append a subtool that will be her cloak. Then we're going to append a subtool that will be her skirt or bottom of her tunic. Before we deal with either of these, and before we even bother with trying to make the rest of her clothing, we are going to be smoothing a few things out. You see, Ellen's going to be wearing a full tunic, number one, and number two, the geo here isn't behaving like boobs would. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to kind of smooth around the boobs. And then I'm going to use the Move Topological tool, kind of bring it a bit more natural look to how things are going here. We're going to completely rebuild her breast when we do the tunic. So that's this. I'm also going to give it a little bit in here to help make this more of, this is what, you know, this is a cloak that's, or a tunic that's got space between them. Okay, and then we have a little bit of geo issue that we'll take care of there when it comes time, but here now we need to deal with this. We need to kind of blend it just a bit. And then I now need to go back to Move Topological because that's not looking right. I've done a lot more work on the male figure than I have on the female. I'm sorry. But yeah, that's a bit more. Now let's go ahead and change her facial expression, which is going to be more of a smile. A big ol' honkin', I'm so happy I've got a kitty on my head and everybody loves me smile. And up a bit. Oh, that's right. I got to do this with the regular move tool because the eyes are a separate part right there. Okay, frame out. Whoops. There we go. And now, going into geometry, I'm going to subdivide it a couple times just to make sure it goes smoothly. And I'm setting Dynamesh to 768 and blur of 0. I hit Dynamesh. It's been Dynameshed. Now I go to where the shoulders are. From here on out, I'm using the tablet for as much as I can. And I got a charging cord in the wrong spot. Okay. Now, here we go. We're gonna increase the intensity, increase the size just a little, and shift, smooth, and in here, Move that a little. We're going to come back in and redetail the okay, gotta shrink this. Bring this to 100. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that now while I'm thinking about it. No. No, no, no. Once again, Kitty decided that he wanted to come in. Okay, one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink the mouse a bit, and I'm going to bring this forward. I'm not going to bring this forward as far as I could rather, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a ball in there and that will be used to represent her teeth. So I go to slash. Where's slash? Ow! No! 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 Ah! Buzz butt! Can I say, I will be right back in just a few moments. Sorry about that. I had to pick him up and carry him outside the room and close the door. He's now going to be spending the next hour and a half outside my room crying. I know, but yeah. So anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go up here to stroke and make sure that it's set to lazy mouse off. Shrink it down a little, make it a lot weaker, and I'm going to outline her eyes. Make it a good bit sharper defined. Okay. Now, frame out. And next thing we do is we go ahead and we make the skirt. Now again, it's not really going to be a skirt so much as it's going to be the bottom of a tunic. We're going to subdivide it a couple times until it's at least reasonably similar in polygon size to the body, which according to this, nowhere near yet. So we need one more subdivision. Okay. Now we're going to select Ellen. Going to merge down. Uh-oh. And we're going to merge down. And we've got to frame because I accidentally did a boo-boo. What I have to do now is go down to polygroups, auto group. And what that did was now I can Control Shift select that cape, mask it, go back to Subtool, and split it off again. Split mask parts. Yeah. I had forgotten that the cape was between the body and the thing. So now we go ahead and let's go ahead and Dynamesh it at 1/24. Dynamesh. And did it work well with the head? Yeah, okay. The head's decent. We can deal with that when the time comes. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to smooth out the areas where the body and the skirt had overlapped. Or gotten very close in the case of that part of the leg. I'm going to come back over here. Now I'm thinking just a basic tunic and hooded cloak and breeches and woodsy boots. That's good enough for the most part, because the character will really come out when we add in that kitty. This is mostly just to try and give it a bit of, yeah. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is going to be her hood. Now the way I do her hood, actually she's not going to have a hood, because with those ears, so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to come back in here into Daz Studio and hit Control Z. Then I'm going to select her head, Content Library, Clothing Femme. One of the things I have in here is hair. So I'm going to go ahead and add in, let's see, do we want this hair? Yes, because that's going to actually I can go ahead and move out those ears. So File, Export, Ellen Hair, Accept. Now what I do is I go ahead and I go back to ZBrush. And I create another subtool. Append. Come on. Append. Mesh. Import. Ellen Hair. Now what I do is I use the smoothing tool at max. Right there to help clean up where it goes over the ear. And then the move tool, kind of pull it back over the back of the ear. Okay, and then here, bring it back. Oh. And we're going to carve that into hair here in just a little bit, but not just yet. Now, Oh, and you may or may not have noticed that I've kind of got something big and blue back here. Yes, I printed out it looks like a nice big chunk of Warhammer 40k terrain, but it's really a 4-way dice tower with a lid that tells you which way the dice are going to come out. See where it's got the arrow in the front there? So that way you're playing your battle and you got troops moving in front of the doorway where the dice are going to come out. Well, you just rotate the doorway, so now they're coming out here and they're not going to knock these figures away. Yeah. You got to take that to game tomorrow. And hey yo, Narthor! And I just realized that my microphone's been up here this whole darn time! Ah! Ah! Well, let me get back to her. I'm going to hide her hair. And what we're going to do first, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a mantle. I may not be giving her a hood, but I'm going to give her a mantle. A mantle! Like Mickey Mantle. But then again, most of you is too young to remember Mickey Mantle. Whoop. I need to focus shift 100%. Mickey Mantle, he was a baseball player. And for those who don't remember, baseball used to be popular. Baseball also used to be considered a sport, if you can believe it. And if any of you are baseball fans, not sorry. Sorry, I hate baseball. Anyway, Mickey Mantle, yeah. He was not something that you wore over your shoulders in the medieval days. He was a baseball player. He also wasn't the thing on top of your fireplace. That's not what we're giving this female either. Now I need to smooth there quite a bit, actually. Yeah. Anyway, so now I take this. It is masked off, and I extract it at a 0.3. Extract, accept, draw, and I go back to here. Draw, back to here, dynamesh, dun. Okay, now I'm gonna subdivide it a couple times. That's good enough. Now we need to worry about that cape, because we need to have this cape visible so that the back of the mantle can go over the cape. Now, let's move topological. Here, we're going to move this cape a bit like that, because we want it to be under the cape as much as possible. We get big time. I'm on my way, I'm making it. In case you're wondering, that is a song by Peter Gabriel, who is not going to be performing in this sculpt, as I could probably get in legal trouble if I sang any more than what I already did. If not for singing a copyrighted song, then for singing it all, because my voice is probably a felony. And bring that out. Go to the mantle. Let's make it in transparent just so I can see where the mantle is. Grab the back here and bring it out. Okay, I untransparent it, and now I shrink the mouse because I need to kind of bring it forward, bring this up, bring it up here and out a little. Okay, that's our mantle, and now the cape. And hide the mantle because the cape needs to be subdivided a little bit. Because what we're going to do next is we're going to be giving it wrinkles. At least the cape will. Then we're going to go and do her boots and her sleeve cuffs and bracers. So we go to standard first. The reason being is because we need to give it just, in this case, we need to give it some really basic shape. Actually, we need to take it back. Need to smooth out this. So now we subdivide. It's smooth. Okay, now we delete lower, and we come in from here, and we need to bring it from up here. Okay, now we're going to shrink it down a little bit, and then we're going to make it more intense. And what we do is we come in and a little bit of smoothing over here. Now we take our slash brush. The first thing we do is we add, bring it down to about 6, but make it kind of big. And we come on the underside of these wrinkles. Because wrinkles has gravity. Which is a wow. Then we're going to a subtract because wrinkles also go in a bit. We're going kind of close. Oh, need to go in kind of close here. Because what we want to do, we want to kind of further emphasize the point of where these wrinkles are coming from and where they're heading to. Okay, that's going to be, make sure that our mantle fits the cloak now, because we just modified the cloak, so we need to bring it up just a tad bit. Move topological, make it bigger, and then just kind of bring it up. Okay, now we hide both. Select our body frame. Now, Let me get some sody pop. We need to make boots. And we need to make, let's give her bracers. Okay. Now, coincidentally, I actually did download a picture of her character. I'm not going to show it on here, simply because, you know, copyrights, blah blah. So, we go to my outside extra and the Xbox. Okay, the version I see here. Okay, that's actually kind of much more complex than I was expecting. Okay, she is wearing bracers, but she's also got short sleeves. That's one thing I needed to see. So, she also needs a belt and some detail on her tunic, on the bottom of her tunic. So let me shrink this a lot, because I just noticed an area I need to polish a bit. Yeah, frame out. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw on where her bracers are, because we'll make those first. I should note her outfit is a little complex, and especially since the delay that we had from furball issues, it'll be a little bit longer show tonight. Okay. Also, some of you may have noticed that I have an Anycubic sign when I go to the full screen camera. That's, yes, I have successfully become sponsored by Anycubic. And this means that I will be printing out most of the upcoming figures on the Anycubic Photon. It has yet to arrive, and I am anxious for its arrival. On the day of its arrival, I might make an unboxing video as kind of a special how do you do and here you go. So anyway, her wrists are currently masked. Now I go over here to extract at 0.3, accept, draw, whoa, select the body and undraw. Select the bracers again, go back to geometry, and we're going to dynamesh it at 256. Dynamesh! Yay! Frame! Now we're going to subdivide them a couple times, because we need to draw some patterns on them. Pleat lower. These patterns, according to the image reference that I have, make them look like she's got leaves on the back of her forearms. So we go and we're going to use slash for this. Yeah, we're going to slash in deep, or not that deep, but deep. We're going to use it to make, let's see, draw out to there, and then draw out. Oh, no, because we need it to be as flat on when we do that as possible. There we go. And then we're going to draw down the back. And then reap, 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 reap. A lot of adding detail is basically drawing it in. It's not as simple as some aspects. Okay, now we have this forearm to add. No, that's too far here. And then bleep. Whoop, too far. Bleep, 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 bleep. Okay. Now we're also going to go ahead. We're going to use the layer tool. I don't use that very often because it's got a very specific use from my point of view. And crank it up, shrink it down. Let's bring it to 80. Okay, and then B. And then we kind of smooth the top of this because that's going to be kind of messy. Then we go back into slash. Actually, no, we need to go back to layer because we need to make sure we do this on the other one. Nope. These are going to be straps holding on the bracers, just as an FYI. Now let's go back to slash, and we're gonna cut in here, cut in from here to here, and cut in here. So that way you have an actual seam for it to be covering over. Okay, that's excellent. Now we go back to the body, hide the thing, and we're going to give her quite a bit of masking on the upper arm. I'll explain why there's so much masking on the upper arm in just a moment. In just a moment. And yes, I hate Hotel Transylvania. It was a mockery of me and my people. And why they chose Selena Gomez to play the baby girl, I do not know. How could a vampire get a tan like her? I do not think it is possible. Now, I'm actually going to extract this at 0.2. draw. The reason for that is so that when compared to the bracers, they don't stick out quite as far. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and hide those bracers again. Select these things and dynamesh them at 128. Then before we divide them, make the mouse big, about to here. And we're going to smooth out where they meet the rest of the arm. Simply put, this is just the sleeve divider. We don't need to do much until it comes time for wrinkles, which we'll be doing here in maybe a little. But I've got details to add before then. Okay, now we're going to subdivide it a couple times. Just to... yeah, there we go. Soda, soda, soda. Now we select her again. We don't need to really worry about hiding the sleeves or the bracers, because we're not going to be working on the arms anymore. So, welcome whoever you are. I do not see who is live. We need to do her boots, which ankle boots, and then bands up the calf. So what we do, we shrink the mouse down. Yo ho, shrink the mouse down. And we select that will become the cuff. Cuffed ankle boots and shrink the mouse down. Alrighty, now the next thing we got to do is I got to shrink this really small, because these cuffs have a little that little thing going. Okay, so erase. And now we extract it at 0.003. Oh, no we don't. Extract at 0.03. Except, yeah, that was just, it didn't look right. It looked too skinny. Now we select her, deselect where we drew, select them, go back to geometry, divide, dynamesh, and subdivide. Oh, no, we can't dynamesh at that tier. Now let's go 256. Dynamesh. Nope. 512. Dynamesh. Okay, that's about the best we can do. We're going to subdivide it. And then we're going to use slash to kind of draw in between. Okay, frame out. Oh, pardon me for a second. Now we're going to put little bands around her knees. Oh yeah, I gotta select that subtool. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay. And that is going to extract out at 0.03. Accept. Draw. Draw. Geometry. And if we Dynamesh right now... No. Okay, now we go back up to the subtool, we select her, and let's mask this off because we need to, because what we're going to do now, we're going to make her upper thighs a bit baggy because we're going to be making the pants a bit baggy on the outsides. And we need to make sure we don't do that to the... That's a bit too much, yeah. Let's shrink this intensity quite a bit. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and add in the wrinkles to the thighs just because I kind of need them. So let's go back to standard, drop that draw size. What would the elven folk do? Collapsed in a human run zoo. These words that I am saying are utterly insane, but what would the elven folk do in a zoo? Why are Zavarts so blue? Are they evil smurfs too? Or are they simply something created for a lark? Oh, why are Zavarts so blue? I'm gonna undo that. The Zavart is something you will most likely, not gonna guarantee you, but most likely never see me make a miniature of. Zavarts, at least according to Volo's Guide to Monsters, which is the current edition rules for them, started when an evil demigod got a hold, or an evil non-demigod, just a evil supernatural entity. I think he was a demon, a servant of Grazd, maybe. Got a hold of a crystal that gave you godlike power. Well, in his case, it only made him kind of demigod-like. So he decided, I'm gonna hide out, cause my boss, he can't find me, but he spread the word that I got this thing that can make you like a god, and if you're already a god, can make you even more powerful. And everybody's chasing me. So in order to help him hide, he creates these things that look exactly like him with only various minor differences. And they're weak, and they're cowardly, and they're blue. And they have receding hairlines, every single one of them. The current versions do. The original versions looked more like street punk Smurfs. They wore the hats like Andy Capp wore, and have 5 o'clock shadow, and look tough, and yeah. And now they're middle-aged goblins for all intents and purposes, and they're all cowards and greedy and just, weak and stuff and easily killable. The only advantage from the point of view of their creator is it causes them to kind of foil and screw up detection spells. So people trying to find him, find them instead. Okay. That's good enough on those. And I'm having yet another issue with fuzzbutts. So I am sorry, but I will be right back. Okay? And I'm back. So, okay. I'm thinking, let's go ahead and hide the bracers. Let's move the sleeves up to the top. Whoop. And the sleeves need one more subdivision level. And we're going to merge down, zoom in, and I am going to go ahead and with slash, once again, refine the shape of the eye just to make sure we don't lose it on this next Dynamesh. Okay, now I go to Geometry and Dynamesh. Now I can blend these shoulders. I'm doing with the mouse instead of the tablet so that the best explanation I've seen for the difference between a mouse and tablet is like using a airbrush. You got much more control. You can place it where you need it. You can make it stronger, larger, weaker, softer, smaller. Using the mouse is like using a rattle can. It's always at one size and always at one strength. Rattle can being, you know, a classic spray paint can. So, let's see, frame out. And now, when I turn on the rest of the geometry, well, except for that, it's looking pretty good, but we need to now turn off all the rest and give her a belt. And then what effectively is a leaf tabard. So to make her a belt, we basically just need to do the same thing we did for most of the rest of the clothing. We need to make the mouse just one bit bigger and go around and draw a belt on Ellen's character. I can't. Is it Ellenwyn? I think it's Ellenwyn. Which is kind of cheesy if it is. It's a historically accurate name, but you named it after yourself. That's cheesy. I'm going to extract this at 0.04. Now 0.05. Extract. No, not 0.05. 0.03. And now we're going to take her here. We're going to dynamesh it 256 so we have a nice sharp edges. And divide a couple times. Delete lower. Now we're going to hide this thing. Select her. And we're basically going to start. Make sure we're the. Yeah, we're going to start kind of up here. And we're going to select a kind of a leaf shape. Maybe erase that. Then we're going to erase some of the. And then it's going to clear out. And we're going to extract that at 0.02. Extract. Accept. Draw. Draw. And we're going to dynamesh it at 128. And just to double check, we're then going to turn on the belt. We're going to use select. Okay, so use move topological. Make it the bigger brush, not smaller, bigger. I'm going to kind of pull it out a bit just to make it clear. And then when I turn on the mantle, it's not quite. Let's select the mantle and we're going to bring it out a little. Whoop. Nope. Down here. Okay. Just to get a look at what I'm pretty sure her outfit is pretty much done now. Except for let's turn on the belt and the mantle. I need to zoom in here and I need to draw in the leaf pattern. So we shrink the mouse again. We go to slash. Increase the intensity to about that. That's good. And then we're going to draw a line. And then we're going to just start drawing in our veins. This could be a leaf or a feather, whichever way they want to deal with it. But considering that the character is a druid, it could be either one. That's close enough. That's good enough. So now we go ahead, make everything visible again. Frame out. Yeah, that looks good. Nicely detailed, nicely readied. The next thing to do is we make her hair. So we need to go ahead with move topological. Zoom in, make it bigger, and kind of pull up her hair. And then frame out. Make it even bigger and start. Whoa, that's way too big. Okay, now we're going to use inflate, really small, to kind of give it a bit more volume. Let me turn off transparency because and then we're going to use move topological to make it a bit more random again. For special bonus points, both the real Ellen and her D&D personae, not to be confused with dramatis personae, have hair with colored tips. I think they both have blue, or is it just her? Like a teal blue. Okay, so now the Ellen hairs, we're going to go to geometry. We're going to subdivide it a couple times. Delete lower. Zoom out a bit. And then I'm going to shrink the mouse, or the cursor, go back to slash, drop it down a little, and then we're going to draw in the basic part. Yeah, the hair's not going to be like the real Ellen, but eh. Okay, now we just start drawing on major locks. And this is where the basic shape of the hair comes into play. Now we switch to add. We're going to lower the intensity a lot and increase the size a little. And this basically adding on sharp edges that'll be easy to catch paint. The thing is, her actual part and similar areas on this head will very likely end up covered up by the kitty. Alright, and then just because it's shrink, make it deeper. There. And there we have Elenwen. Let's go ahead. One other thing we need to do is we need to go to her. We need to make that hair visible when it's not selected. And we need to merge everything down. Okay. Now we need to go ahead, zoom in, and we're going to append a sphere 3D. Oh, looky, that's huge. So, with sphere 3D selected, we go to deformation, and we're going to scale it -100 times more than once. Then we're going to offset it Y. And then offset it X. And we're going to frame. And did I just do it almost perfectly by pure? Yeah, almost perfectly. So now we use move topological. We're going to kind of move this out just a bit. Because one thing we're going to do next on her is she needs pretty lips because she's a pretty little girl, a sweet little girl. Now, subtool, go back to her, and with inflate and shrinking it down, we're going to inflate the lips in general. There's those lips especially back there. Then we're going to make it a little bit stronger. And then one's up here. And we're going to use pinch or slash. See, add, shrink that down. Kind of sharpen the top edge. And then sub to kind of go under here. And then we're going to move again and make it bigger. And just kind of now we're going to select him, the inner mouth bit, and divide it That's good enough. And then we're going to slash pretty deeply, pretty small. And then sharpen. It's entirely possible this will never get actually painted. So, frame out. And then we go back to her. And just because we go ahead and use move topological, inflate the, or increase the size. A little bit chubbier cheeked. And the chin, not quite so chinny. And the mouth, not quite so. Yeah. There's our Ellen. However, we have one last thing to do before we can make her base and call her complete. Yes. I have to make a kitty on her head. So, to do this, we're going to append another subtool, another sphere. And we're going to deformation, scale it down, -100, -100, -50, a bit more, and then we're going to offset it by Y until it's on our head, and offset it by Z. Okay, and then offset it by X a little. Now this we're going to use symmetry on. No, we're not. Okay, well, let's go ahead and with geometry we're gonna leave it as is. Subtool. Actually, no, we need to dynamesh it because we want it to be as basic as possible. Now, we're going to start off with the move. We're going to turn this round thing into a round kitty. So, we need to squish it. Oh, not big enough. We need to squish it a lot. Like squishing a thing of putty. Because it's a chubby kitty. And it's a little kitty. And that's actually an appropriate shape for the back end of a cat that's trying to curl up. I'm going to kind of bring this down and out. No, we want that to be a snake hook. Shrink it a little bit. Now we're going to dynamesh it again. Actually, let's subdivide it. And dynamesh it again. Move topological just to get the legs a little bit longer. Not a lot, but just a little bit. That should be good. And then bring these in. It's going to be a poofy tail. So inflate. Now we're going to dynamesh it one more time. And subdivide it just once. Now we're going to do the standard brush. I'm going to start sculpting away to make the kitty head and the kitty body parts and the toe beams. And whoop. Okay. Okay, that's mostly decent. But now we're getting into the actual trying to make it look like a cat part. So we're going to make it a little bit chubbier in the bottom cheeks. A little bit more balanced. We're going to add the ears towards the end. And now we're going to divide it a couple times. Delete the subdivision. And dynamesh at 256. Okay. Now, we're going to slash just to make sure that we get... Oh. Just to make sure that we get the legs drawn properly, because it can become a pain. Okay. Now we go to move topological, make it bigger, but make the focal shift really small, because we're going to grab out and drag out our ears. Our ears. Now I'm going to go to standard, sub, and shrink it so I can kind of bring in those couple of polygons. And Z add to make them thicker over here. Okay. Now the next thing we need to do is a basic snout with chubby cheeks. And the nose. Okay, now we're going to subdivide it a couple times. We're going to start doing some detail work in here. One, we're going to further dig in the hollows of the ears, because that's what cats have. They got ears. They got ears. Now we're going to draw with slash. Also going to draw, make it smaller, make it, and kind of draw in where the nose would be. Now we're going to inflate, making it just a little bit bigger. The advantage of cat faces is we can tweak them as we go. This is probably going to end up being a bit cartoony. And we're probably also going to end up grabbing it and shrinking it. Gonna divide it. Zoom in, and with slash we're going to add out here. Okay, so we're going to need to make this big. Well, not that big. Not here. And go to move. And we're just going to grab the front of the snout, bring it in just a little, and I'm going to make it even smaller and bring it over. And then slash to kind of draw in that. There. Now we need to draw in the eyes with no. Okay. Now frame out. Let's look. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and blend her down. And then the last thing we have to do, we need to append a new shape. In this case, we're going to import a default base, which, as you can see, is too far down. So we go ahead and, well, first let's dynamesh a little bit, or divide it up a little bit. Then we deform offset Y. Usually offset Y about 20. And -5, -1. Let's make it one more. -1. There we go. We frame out, and actually that's almost perfectly fitting on the base as it is. So we go to Subtool and we merge down. Now we have one figure with all these different pieces. So guess what we got to do next? That's right, Dynamesh! Oh, and we can put this up now. I don't need the tablet anymore. Sorry. That leaves us with 1.928 million polygons, which might be a tad bit too much. Also means that I need to go up in here, and I just noticed something, you might have too. And I need to smooth out the bottom of the neck because of where that ball that became the teeth was. Yeah. Frame. But yeah, 1.928 million polygons is a little bit too much. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our Z plugins, going to Decimation Master. We're going to hit 35K and see what happens. To Ellen, a druid. Well, what happens is I knock the top off my dice tower. Yay! Well, it's calculating. And 78, 80, 85, 95, or 90, 94, 96, 98. Reordering. Writing file to disk. And 70,058 triangles. And it looks pretty much identical. And identical enough that even with a resin printer, you won't need to worry too much about the polygons being visible. Even kept the kitty. So now we frame out. And we're going to export this back into outside Xbox as Owen Druid. Yay! That is our druid with a kitty hat. So I would like to thank anyone who joined me, if any of you did. Well, a couple of you did, but you left. And I'd like to say that what's basically going to happen here is now, since I got this up, I'm going to hold up my hand over here. I'm going to hold my hand over here. And when I see my own hand count down from 5 to 1, I'm going to be logging out. Now, like, subscribe, hit the bell, the whole 9 yards if you're watching this on YouTube. And I'm going to go ahead, and this is 5. A 4, a 3, a 2, a 1, and Twitch lag.